Hi everyone, welcome to day 1 equations of line. Let's get started. Determine and state an equation of the line perpendicular to the line 5x minus 4y is equal to 10 and passing through point 5, 12. So the first thing I would do is circle the word perpendicular, and that means flip and negate. Now we need to figure out what the slope is, so let's rewrite the line 5x minus 4y is equal to 10 and get y by itself. So y is going to be equal to 5 over 4x minus 10 over 4. Now, it says the slope is 5/4, but now we need the perpendicular slope, which we flip and negate. So that's going to become negative 4 over 5. Now the next part, it says it has to pass through point 5, 12. So we need to use the point slope form, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. We are going to put in our new perpendicular slope, which is negative 4/5. And then we need to put in our point, which is that 5, 12. So our x value is the 5, so x minus 5. And our y value, or our y1, is 12. And that is our answer. If we move on to our next part, it says facts to remember. So when dealing with equations of line, we need to know anytime we see the word perpendicular, it means to flip and negate. And that symbol is this. Also, if it says the word parallel, that means the same slope. Don't forget the point slope form of an equation, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And finally, to get a perpendicular bisector, you need to follow 4 steps. The first is to find the midpoint. You add your x's together, divide by 2, add your y's together, divide by 2. Second step is find the slope. You might need to use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Third, you need to find the perpendicular slope, which is flip and negate. And lastly, you need to put it in the point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Let's move on to the next question. So it says line segment NY has endpoints n, negative 11, 5, and y, 5, negative 7. What's the equation of the perpendicular bisector of NY? So I'm going to circle the word perpendicular bisector, and that's the 4-step procedure. So step 1, find the midpoint. So I'm going to add my x's together, divide by 2, and my y's together, divide by 2, and I get the point negative 3, negative 1. Step 2, I find the slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the slope in this case would be -7 minus 5 over 5 minus -11. And I end up getting -12 over 16, which is -3/4. Now remember, for step 3, we need to find the perpendicular slope, so we flip and negate, and we get 4/3. Now we can use process of elimination and eliminate the slopes that are not 4/3, so choice 2 and choice 4. Finally, we're going to put it into point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So y minus, you're inputting the y value of the midpoint, which is 1, is equal to, that should be an m, your slope is 4/3 times x minus -3. Now, I forgot here the negative, so that should turn into a plus. So this should be y plus 1 is equal to 4/3 x plus 3, which is choice 1. And again, you could use process of elimination. Once you got -3, -1, you could eliminate the ones that have the -6, -8. So it would have to be choice 1. And finally, on our last question, it says the diagonals of rhombus TEAM intersect at P 2, 1 if the equation of the line that contains diagonal TA is y is equal to -x plus 3. What's the equation of the line that contains diagonal EM? So the important things to circle are the diagonals of the rhombus TEAM. So the minute I see this question, I would write or draw a diagram, and TEAM, and it's talking about the diagonal TA, so I draw in the diagonal. And we want to know what the equation of the diagonal EM is. It's important to note that diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So if they're perpendicular, that means once you find the slope, you flip and negate the slope. So if my slope of this equation is -1, then my perpendicular slope has to be 1. So use a process of elimination and get rid of choices 3 and 4. Now, because it also told us that it has to intersect at point P 2, 1, I would put both of these equations into my calculator and see which one 2, 1 is in the table, and that would be choice 1. I hope that was helpful. Please log on to Castle Learning now. Thank you.